السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته guys. أهلا وسهلا مرحبا. Welcome. So there's a bit of a new setup as you guys can see. Quite a new setup actually. Let me know what you guys think of this new setup. So this is quality of the picture should be very good compared to normal. And like I said guys, this is what I do. This is how I do it. I gotta do it the best way for you guys. It can't be any less. So let me know if you can hear in the comments. Let me know if the sound's working. Ya Allah. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. So I've been tampering with this quite a bit now. Yeah, and I haven't got it perfect. See, I've got this like sounds working, yeah? Excellent. So, alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, everyone. Ahlan wa sahlan, marhaban. Welcome to this video. And if you guys don't know, my name is Liaquat Zaman. And as usual, we do a live stream on Saturdays. And we answer people's questions. So, I'm just thinking, is it a bit too bright? Let me try to maybe decrease the brightness, make it a bit more comfortable to look at. But yeah, so remember I was telling you guys about me getting new equipment to kind of make the live streams much more clear. Well, guess what guys? It's finally happened. Alhamdulillah. So at the moment, I've actually got, I think the best I can do so far. I don't think there's anything beyond this. Yeah, there is, I mean, updating computer and all that. But yeah, that's the... So I just hope that it's streaming good. That's what I hope. I hope that the stream is going quite well. And it's clear for you guys. Alright guys, so let's start with the questions then. Alright, so yeah, Allah, actually let me just check, use on the computer. Actually I can check them out easier here. Let's see. Alright, actually let me just share this. Alright, so Sayyid Fuzail, alaikum assalam. How are you, Sheikh? Alhamdulillah, Sayyid Fuzail, I am excellent, very good, Jazakallah khair for asking. You said you're starting Medina book series. Are these books by, yes, Abdul Rahim, Dr. Abdul Rahim. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, Allah. Okay, let me just share this. Wa alaikum assalam, Sufyan. Ahlan wa sahlan, marhaban. Welcome. This is my new chair. I need to get a bit comfortable. CSDF, alaikum salam. Love the profile picture. Jazakallah khair. Thank you very much. Hassan Khan, alaikum salam. How are you feeling? Alhamdulillah, Hassan. I'm excellent today. Jazakallah khair for asking. Was wondering what English translation of the Quran would you recommend to give to non-Muslims? I would recommend to give Dr. Abdul Halim's. So Dr. Abdul Halim, he's got one. And Dr. Zaki Ahmed. Those two. Muhammad, alaikum assalam, rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah, brother Muhammad. I'm very well, thank you very much for asking. CSDF, nice setup, more lighting, very comfortable for the eyes. Jazakallah khair. Adil, wa alaikum assalam. Asma Khan, wa alaikum assalam. Ahlan wa sahlan. Hassan, nice lighting, jazakallah khair. SMB, wa alaikum assalam. SDF, your noor outdoes the lighting. Allahu Akbar. Allah. What can I say, man? What can I say, guys? Yeah, I'm not gonna agree with that. I'm not gonna deny that. Okay, so dwellings. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Looking good, nice ambience. Jazakallah khair. Yeah, it's all about the lights and it's all about lights, cameras, action. That's what it's all about, guys. Mark Zappa, what are you drinking? It's called, I don't know what it's called, the name of it, but it's like a green kind of tea. It's like a green herbal tea kind of thing. Sharaban tahuran, alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. That a new mug. No, it's another mug I've got. So because this kind of holds more, and the other one, see the problem with the other one, it cools down quick for some reason. Yeah, clay. It's a very nice clay mug, and it has that kind of clay taste in there. So when I drink tea, I can taste that kind of nice sort of like clay, earthy taste. But yeah, this one kind of like is good because cools down as well. Okay, so new. I want to ask some beard is. Okay, so let's start with these questions then. So first of all, let's go down to questions that are being asked. Oh, got quite a few questions this time. Ya Allah. Okay. Mufti Sahab, thought on skipping fast in Ramadan due to exams and very hard to study. I would say it's something that a person should explain their own personal situation to a scholar. So speak to a scholar, tell them your own personal situation, and that way what happens basically is that the scholar can give you tips as well. So a lot of people kind of like, they don't need to miss their fasting. They might be like, maybe the scholar might tell them something, some ideas, some tips of what kind of things to eat or what times to eat, so that the person can get energy in the day. So I would say, there's not a brush answer for that. Okay, someone asked this question. Is it permissible to watch films? I responded, yes, as long as you fast forward nudity or don't look at them. And then, what about? Is that gone? And then they asked, what about other intimate scenes or general scenes with women wearing short clothes and no headscarf? So this is a kind of issue which is open to sort of like discussion regarding these kind of areas, because of the fact that the aura of a non-Muslim in a non-Muslim country is not considered to be an aura of a normal person. So there is scope regarding that. But if a person wants to take the safe bet, then they should stay away from TV totally. If they want to kind of really kind of stay away from anything which is ikhtilafi, they can stay away from TV. But there is scope in these kind of issues. Those people who don't wear the scarf in that sense, and they come on TV and a person's watching the news or watching anything like that, then there is like a grey area there which is open to ijtihad. Is there any problem if a married woman decides to create a YouTube channel where she can upload vlogs frequently on travel, cooking, parenting tips, pregnancy issues, and sometimes romantic stuff like Q&A with husband, or what she likes about him, all while practicing hijab. Is shooting a vlog same as writing a travel log that people like Ibn Battuta was famous for? Do you think an individual should let anyone on the internet know too much about him or her? Having a YouTube channel is a good leisure many people have nowadays and can also generate a good side income if run well. But what about evil eye? I think you've asked about 20 questions there. So look, I don't know the answer to all these questions. If you ask me from a fiqh point of view, then I can probably help you answer those. But if you ask me from my own personal experience, then I'm just going to give you an answer based on my own personal experience there. Okay, so this is why when it comes to these kind of things, it's very important that a person understands that when you're asking me a question, some of the questions I may be able to answer them, and some of them when I answer them, it's just my own personal experience that might provide some beneficial advice or might not. So I'll just give a general sort of like thing. If a person wants to start a YouTube channel, alhamdulillah, they can start a YouTube channel, and it might be even very good for them. And if they need an income as well, it's a very good way of starting an income as well, right? Because everyone needs to survive, everyone needs to provide a house for themselves and food and clothing, all these things. And so income, earnings, these are things which a person can do. Okay, now when it comes to, however, becoming a YouTube influencer, because that's basically what the person's asking, you have to be very, very careful. You got to be extremely careful in the kind of content that you're going to be putting up, because what tends to happen to a lot of YouTubers is a lot of them, they tend to become in this kind of like situation where they're only putting content up to increase their following or subscribership or other things as well, right? And this is something which I personally am against. Yeah, and I mean, on my YouTube channel, I can put stuff up that will be clickbait, and I can put stuff up that will generate more views, and then my channel will spread. But I don't want to do that. So what I do in my YouTube channel is I provide content which I know there's people out there that are really in need of that. So I look at the demand, and then I provide the supply. Basically, that's what it is. But what the YouTube influencers tend to do is they tend to create the demand in people's hearts. Yeah, that you need to watch this, you need to look at this. So what tends to happen with a lot of these, it doesn't become a sustained income unless you start to do things which are. So very few YouTubers you'll find who are doing stuff that's really, really beneficial. Like very, very good. A lot of the other YouTubers are just copying each other, or they just like kind of, I'll do my own house thing or what people. And that's the other thing that they mentioned about this idea of, people giving them another an evil eye, or even, people becoming jealous of them, and then, it be causing problems in their own family as well. So a lot of YouTubers, a lot of influencers are, in situations where they are going through depression, where they're going through problems in life. It's very, very common in the YouTube world. And the reason is because, one of the main reasons is because what tends to happen, people, they're just looking out for the likes. It's the likes, and then this causes, mental issues. So this is how I say, if a woman wants to start a YouTube channel, there's nothing wrong with her starting a YouTube channel. As long as she observes, just like when she goes out in public, she observes her haya, her modesty, and so forth. Yeah. So it's just the same. It's just like being in public, basically. And everyone should be careful, whether it's male, whether it's female. You've got to be careful of what content you're putting up, right? Is it morally right content? Is it simply just something which you want to gain a few more pounds and pennies? You got to be very careful. Okay. If alcohol-based hand sanitizer falls on prayer mat, can we still pray on the mat? Yes, because that is not considered to be impure. According to Abu Hanifa rahimahullah, he says it's not considered to be impure. Alcohol, which is made from like intoxicating alcohol that people drink, like grapes and dates and these kind of things, that he considers to be impure. Assalamu alaikum salam. When is the reasoning of to not replicate the disbelievers applicable in fiqh rulings? I feel I see it used a lot in a lot of different situations when I'm looking for answers online. I just wanted to understand. Yeah, so what we have to understand is, look, as a Muslim, we are supposed to be practicing Islam, applying Islam to our lives in a way which is unique to Islam. Like for example, our prayer, our Hajj, our fasting has to be something which has been legislated by Islam. So that's why anything to do with Islam itself, like the acts of worship, cannot imitate anyone. This type of imitation is not allowed at all. So for example, let's say we find a practice in the Hindus do, or the Jews do, or the Christians do in their religion. We're not allowed to adopt that if it hasn't been legislated by Allah. We have to give ourselves our own identity. As for besides this is where the grey area comes, because we have narrations where the Prophet ﷺ, in the early part of his life, he used to try and imitate Ahlul Kitab as much as possible. But then later on, what happened is that this is something which the Prophet ﷺ, he told the people not to, right? So, but then where do you not? So according to the Hanafis, they say in two things. They say, number one, you do not imitate them when it comes to something which is unique to their religion. Yeah, so something which is unique to their religion, their faith, you don't imitate them, like I said in the first. And the second one is something which is done because a person wants to be like them in a certain way. Right? And if they are considered to be like people who are immoral, not upright at all, then that is considered to be wrong. Right? So someone wants to be like them. So this is why in these two areas are the main thing. As for anything else, imitating anyone else, if it has a function in life, in living life, like for example, you drive their cars, you wear their shoes, you wear their clothes, you work in their businesses, that's fine, because that's a function that's part of getting on with life. So anything which is to do with getting on with life, there's no tashabbuh in that. That's the rule. But like I said, because there are certain narrations where the Prophet ﷺ, he told Sahaba not to imitate them he never used to imitate them in their hair, in his way he's combed his hair or other things, it becomes a bit grey area, like I said. And this is why some people would say, you can't even celebrate birthdays because this is something that non-Muslims do. So their understanding is anything that non-Muslims do, you shouldn't be doing it, which isn't really correct. But like I said, that's the two main points. Okay, right. Let's check out some of your questions then. Okay, I want to ask the beard, many opinions about keeping it, but once it sideburns, mutton chops, throat hair, can you clarify? Mutton chops, what's that? The limits of it. Yeah, so beard is technically considered to be anything on the jawline. Anything on the jawline is known as the lihya. Yeah, anything on the jawline in the Arabic language. That's what it is basically. So as long as something is on the jawline, that is considered to be beard according to Hanafis. Yeah, everything else above and below is not considered to be the beard. Muhammaduddin, nice mug, jazakallah khair. Muhammaduddin, WR, have you got an Arabic dictionary to learn Arabic vocabs for beginners? I don't really have one. There are some available online. If you go to this website, Ijtal, if you type it in Google it, EJTAAL, it's a website. Go on there and you'll find lots of dictionaries available for beginners, for intermediate, advanced. What I tend to use is a website called Al-Ma'ani sometimes. Al-Ma'ani, I think that's very easy for a lot of people. Al-Ma'ani, it's like Arabic, English, you can use that. SMB, if someone joining in during Sajda Tilawa while everyone are in prostration, do the person has to do it later? No, it doesn't have to do it later. CSDF, what would you do a Quran translation in book form similar to how you do in Baqarah videos? I don't know, maybe if I did, then it would be more, it would be I don't know, maybe I'll see what I tend to see is when you're doing something which is online, right, the style of it has to be different from when you do it in a book form. Yeah, so the style of it has got to be different. Second. So I don't know, maybe, possibly. It depends how it kind of works out. Yeah, I don't know. It depends what the response is as well to the videos I make. Ibrar Hussein, Salam Mufti, do you know any tips for memorization? Not really. I'm not an expert in memorization. I mean, the only things I can say is eat healthy, go to sleep early, and stay away from sins. These are things that I find are very, very good for memory. Eat healthy, go to sleep early, and stay away from sins. SMB, does the wali require wudu for janaza salah even if he's running late? There's an ikhtilaf on that, difference of opinion. Sayyid Fuzail, Sheikh, I was looking for a book on grammatical analysis of the Quran. Yes, there are many. If you actually go to a website called furqan.co, there's quite a few in there. And also Quran Corpus, if you type in Quran Corpus and Google it, there's actually a website which in English, it actually has a section in there where it goes through, like breaks down grammar. Okay, next question. When is the... Okay, done that one. A friend of mine seems to be heavily leaning towards ideas about hadith rejection. Is there any reading material you know of where I could potentially educate myself better? Yes, definitely. Mufti Taqi Usmani has a book called, I think it's called The Authority of the Sunnah. So check that out. There's also a book called what's it called? Makanat al-Sunnah. What's it in English? It's called something. There's lots of like literature that's been written in support of hadith. You'll just have to go online, check it out. Well, Mufti Taqi Usmani's got one, and there's a few others that have written on the topic of the importance of hadith. What is the aura for a man? Does one have to cover their aura in front of parents and other mahram? Aura for a man is from the knees all the way up to the belly button, and he has to cover that in front of everyone apart from his wife. And if you want to read more, look in my Quduri series. In the Quduri series, under the Salat section on my YouTube channel, I've actually explained it over there. Do you know if there's any English translation of the Urdu book Tafhim al-Fiqh by Mufti Naeem? No, I don't know. Wa alaikum assalam. Is it allowed for me to, as a male, to past the age of puberty, to teach Quran to a cousin sister who is also past the age of puberty? Are there any conditions required? Yes, ideally you should have someone else in the room. Right, so if you're going to teach, it's fine, but make sure there's someone else in the room, or there's no way of there being sort of like any possibility of shaitan coming in the way, basically. You want to keep that. So if it's someone else in the room, yeah, then ideally have that. Are men allowed to wear platinum rings? So platinum rings, there's an ikhtilaf amongst Hanafis about men wearing non-silver rings. Yeah. Majority of Hanafis say that men can only wear silver rings, but some other Hanafis say that this text of men only allowed to wear silver rings is based upon a question that was asked to Imam Muhammad rahimahullah in his is mentioned in his I think it's a Jami al-Saghir in there, which was basically that are men allowed to wear gold rings, and he said no, only silver. So what he might have meant, they say, by this was that because the two types of metal that were normally used for rings in them days was gold and silver, so he just said silver. Now it doesn't necessarily mean that he said you can't wear all other rings. So this is why there's an ikhtilaf regarding his text on that. So there are some Hanafis I know who do allow that, and that, to me, that sounds more plausible. Yeah, that sounds quite plausible. In Nur Idah, it's mentioned that when an erect male private... Okay, so children, if there's any children watching, then have a little pause, have a little break, have some water or something. Okay, so when an erect male private part touches the female private part, it nullifies wudu. Why is condition of erect there? Will it nullify the wudu? No. So basically what they say, this is according to Imam Abu Hanif and Imam Abu Yusuf only, not Imam Muhammad. And the reason is because if this does happen, when the two private parts, they meet in this way, it's going to lead to most likely him releasing discharge. Yeah, this in most cases, it releases discharge. So that the answer is based upon the idea that when this normally happens between the man and woman, there's discharge involved after that. So it doesn't break as soon as he touches. It will break, later on. Yeah, so all the rest of the things that you asked, they all answered by that. Yeah, so it's just the very strong possibility of there being a release of discharge. Wa alaikum assalam. Hazrat, can you do a book recommendation video on YouTube covering many topics in Ilm al-Deen? People always ask on your live stream for books. It would be nice if you made a video on it, inshallah. I just saw Muhammad Hijab did one on his channel. It was good. Yeah, I can do that. I can do that, inshallah. Good idea, actually. Right, let's check out some of your questions here. Sufyan, adult content warning. How do you explain to atheists about the marriage of Adam and Hawa children to each other and having offspring on a moral level when they say refer to incest? So basically, a simple answer to this is that the whole understanding concept of a society in them days was totally different from what we have today. Yeah, so the whole understanding of a society was the idea of the survival. This idea of incest coming into this actually is a law that was introduced later on in human life. So initially, Adam alayhi salam did not have the same laws that we had. So Shah Waliullah rahimahullah, he has a big discussion regarding this idea of how each prophet that came with the laws that was designed for the development of human society over the years. So if you imagine like human society like a timeline, when it first started off, it started off like a very like childlike, yeah, and then slowly started to develop until we reach today. So Adam alayhi salam's time, when Adam alayhi salam came to earth and Hawa, the concept of marriage is not like we have two people, imam, not like that. It was a whole different concept of what was meant by marriage, yeah, and the idea of reproducing as well. Yeah, this was a different way it was understood from what we understand today. So this is why we don't know the exact details of these things. So if atheists ask, we'll just say this was something that our Quran hasn't mentioned, but the Quran does mention that we did start from Adam and Hawa. This is how we started. And then somewhere down the line, laws started to be introduced now. So there came a time where brothers and sisters could no longer marry anymore. Yeah, and this started to like bring other laws as well. Muhammad, where are the other questions you're reading from Sheikh? How to ask on there than here? So it's on Curious Cat. So if you look at the bottom of this ticker or streaming writing at the bottom, you can see there's a Curious Cat. So if you go to Curious Cat, you should be able to get access to that, and then you just type your question, and it's basically like anonymous way of asking. Let me just check. Is it? I'm sure it's there. Border text. Okay, you should be able to check it out now. Just make it a bit bigger there. Okay, right. Can you guys see this? Browser. Let me just make this a bit bigger as well. Okay, excellent. Okay, Yasin, assalamu alaikum. Have you heard of the study Quran? Do you know what aspects of this translation problematic? I haven't read it myself. I haven't found any. I mean, I have heard scholars discussing this, but I haven't heard them saying that it's considered to be a bad translation. Some of the problematic things, some of them mentioned was in the commentary. So it's a translation with the footnotes. The footnotes have some problematic, but again, I haven't seen it, so I wouldn't be able to judge. Yeah, I wouldn't be able to judge. I mean, what you can do is you can read it, and if you come across something which you believe to be problematic, you can highlight it and show it to a scholar. Is dua sunnah wajib? Depends. So, dua kunut is wajib. Some du'as are mustahab, some du'as are sunnah. Tahreem, Assalamu alaikum. Does one have to pay zakat if they are saving for something else, hajj or buying a property? A person has to pay zakat if the amount of money that's outstanding is less than the amount of assets that they have. So basically, if you have bought yourself a hajj ticket and you are paying off for the hajj, you owe that, then you can deduct that from your assets. And likewise, when it comes to buying a property, if you have bought a property and you're paying it off, that's outstanding. So what you can do is, if you want more details on this, check out my YouTube channel. Check out my video on crash course. Just go into YouTube or something, type in crash course Liaquat Zaman, crash course zakat, Liaquat Zaman, and you'll find a whole video I've explained there. Qasim, would it be possible to develop a game where you have in-app purchases to get ahead in the game, but the game gives away real-life gifts to their users for purely playing the game? Yeah, possible. Why would it be gambling for? I don't see why it's gambling. Yeah, because you're not really gambling for anything. You're buying something. You're buying a service. Yeah, and they are gifting you something in return. So it's not that you're buying something, like you're paying for something which is a risk. You might get something, you might not get something. That wasn't the reason why you're buying. You were actually buying an in-game purchase. Getting a further ahead in the game may increase your chances of winning, but it's not necessary. No, that would be fine. It's just, like the same could be said about, let's say for instance, like someone pays to get into like a tuition, organization, company, and by paying there, they're gonna get ahead in the exams. They're gonna do better in the exams. So it's like that. Right, Muhammad Raqibul Hassan, do you love Dr. Zakir Naik? I'm not his wife that I have to love him. He's a good guy. Yeah, alhamdulillah, he's okay. I don't agree with some of the things that he says. But yeah, he's like any scholar. He's got good things. He's got good points. He's got bad points. Simple as that. All scholars have that. How to increase iman? You tell me, bro. This is the question of life. Dwellings. Do you need wudu to read Quran on a phone app? There's a difference of opinion. I personally would say yes. I know some scholars who say you don't need to. But I would say yes. Hamdan Patel, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hamdan, ahlan wa sahlan, marhaban, welcome. Alhamdulillah, Idris, jazakallah khair for asking. Wa alaikum assalam. Sangaye, Ror Khaye. Ibrar Hussein, is Taweez shirk? If you've got stuff in there which is shirk, it's shirk. I mean, the idea is in the Taweez, if there's anything which is shirk, like if the Taweez is like, doing some sort of a shirky thing and you believe that shirky thing, then it's wrong. But if it's not, it's fine. Adil Patan, salam. Where did you study iftar? Karachi. What is your teacher's name? I've got about 50 teachers. Does he still iftar? So the one that I did iftar with two teachers basically. So one of them is Sheikh Thaqib and he's still teaching, and the other one is Sheikh Farooq Hassan Zay. Yeah, they're both teaching still. Alhamdulillah. Sheikh Farooq Hassan Zay, you can actually, you guys want to check on it if I'm a student or not, if I really studied. Sheikh Farooq Hassan Zay is actually on Facebook. So you can actually go and you can DM him. I don't think he speaks English, but in Arabic and Pashto and Urdu, you can DM him and ask him about me. Yeah, so, you guys want to get, like, see if I'm legitimate or not. So you guys can check that out. Muhammad, can you make a series answering anti-Islam answers like so-called problematic hadith, ahruf qira'at, certain verses pulled out of context? Yeah, definitely. I think inshallah I'll look into making those, inshallah. Definitely. And I think you're right. These are the kind of things that we need out there in these platforms to be able to help people. Background looks amazing. Jazakumullah khair. Thank you very much. Alhamdulillah. So this is basically running off my camera, my normal camera that I do my like Imam Shafi and Kanz. So it's called a Sony A6400. Yeah, A6400. Sony A6400. I'm using that for this. So this is why, mashallah, it's It's really clear, crisp, alhamdulillah. And actually the reason I couldn't do it in the past was because I needed a part. It's something called the Elgato Camlink 4K, and it's a small little, it's about this big, yeah, but it costs like, you know, over £120 to use that, and then you got to buy the wire for it, and then, you know, you plug it in. So this is why, you know, I was waiting for quite a while. Dwellings. If an adult person passed away unmarried, no children, just both parents and siblings, who inherits? Is it just the parents? Adult person passes away unmarried, no children, just both parents. Yeah, so the both parents will get it. That's all. So a mother, it'll be divided between the mother and the father. But yeah, they will get it. If there's any brothers and sisters, no siblings. Yeah, siblings. Yeah. Siblings as well. Okay. CSDF. How much Arabic is needed before student can start looking into Lughatul Arabiya dictionary? Would 17 lessons cover that? It depends. Inshallah, I'm going to make a video on the whole of the concept of the dictionary in the Arabic language. Yeah, and there are many types of dictionaries out there. But the thing to remember is that there are going to be some that are easy for a person, and there are going to be some that are going to be a bit difficult. Arabic dictionaries are not like English dictionaries. Arabic dictionaries are more like textbooks. That's how they are. They're more like textbooks. You actually learn lots of stuff from them. Whereas an English dictionary simply just gives you a word, a sentence, and it carries on. Arabic dictionary, you'll take one word, and some dictionaries will actually go like 15, 20 pages explaining that word, going through like where they got the word from, how it was used classically, how it's used in maybe in the Quran or Hadith. So there are so many kind of like things that you can look at when you're trying to understand how Arabic words are used. So I would say there are some that are very, very easy to follow. When I was studying, I used to actually, from year one, I used to actually use one that was called Al-Munjid. It's written by a Christian. The thing you have to remember is most English dictionaries are written by atheists, Christians, Qadianis. Yeah, most of them are. Right, English ones. Urdu ones, no. Urdu ones, there's lots of Muslims that write them. But the thing is, because Orientalists and because Christians and these different people who actually wanted to learn Arabic for their own purpose, whatever they wanted to do, that's why their works are very, very good. Right, and a lot of people tend to ask me these kind of questions. So yeah, if you do 17 lessons, I would say Munjid would be like a book that you can possibly start getting through, right? But it wouldn't be enough for that, because the way that the Arabic language dictionaries work is very different from how English dictionaries work. Asma Khan, are there any YouTube channels that you can recommend for improvement in Arabic vocab, fluency, accent? Not educational vids necessary, but just general videos. It all depends. There's quite a few like vloggers out there. The Arabic is quite good. Right? The Arabic is quite good, as in the sense that it's more closer towards like Fusha Arabic that you study in class. But what I tend to generally do is I listen to books. Like you can listen to novels or you can listen to books in Arabic. So there's a YouTube channel called Sardiyat, right? There's that, and then if you type in Kutub lil Atfal, yeah, right, Qasas al Atfal, something like that. You loads of audio books you can just listen to, put it on in the background, just listen to it. Can improve your Arabic listening skills. But that's basically what I find useful. The other stuff is a bit difficult because they throw a lot of slang into it. HVC, I heard of your Evolution of Fixed series. Is that book or a lecture? Where may I access this? It's a kind of book, and it's a kind of... Actually, let me check. Do I have over here... I might have over here some parts of it. I can show you guys. Yeah. Okay, so actually, let me show you guys. Yeah, because this was like one of my first sort of like big works that I did. Sort of like prize kind of thing. Right. So the problem is there's different parts of it. So I need to kind of show you guys the different parts I have. So I've done 3 parts so far. This is part 3. And this should be part 2. This is part 2. Alright, so yeah, so okay, this is part 1 basically. So can you see this? I don't know if you can see. This is part 1, yeah? And this was a course I delivered in Sufa. And this is basically all the pages. There's about 130, 140 odd pages in there. Yeah, this is part 1. This is some of the contents, and because it's clear, you guys should actually be able to see. This is the kind of contents. Maybe you can pause it later or something. Zoom in. These are the kind of topics that it covers. Yeah, that's part 1. This is 140 pages. Part 1, yeah. Okay, part 2 that I done was basically about the 4 Khalifas, the fiqh in the era of the 4 Khalifas. So this is actually much bigger. This is probably double the size of that. Yeah, this is about 230 pages, 230 odd pages. Yeah, so this is the second part, part 2. So it goes through like, what does it go through? Goes to the 4 Khalifas. Yeah, 4 Khalifas, then kind of like, you know, their fiqh and how they understood fiqh and how fiqh developed from them into the coming years. And then this is part 3. Part 3 is basically after the 4 Khalifas, after them. So this is after them basically. Yeah. So this is about 200 pages. This is about 200 pages. Yeah, this is about fiqh in the time of the like the Banu Umayyah. So Banu Umayyah is about the year 40 after Hijrah all the way to about 132 or so. So it's a fiqh in that era, Tabi'in era basically. And the one that I was working on that I put on pause was the 4 madhabs. How the fiqh then got to them and where they got the idea to write books and where they got the idea to how this formation of the madhab came about. So it's very, very detailed. It's very, very alhamdulillah. So I'm thinking what I might do is I'm going to slowly start to deliver them on my YouTube channel. And it's going to take a long time if I want to do it in detail. But those people out there who are really interested and genuinely want to understand where this whole fiqh came from and how madhab started and why Hanafi madhab is different from Maliki madhab and Shafi madhab is different from both of them and the Hanbali madhab is different than all 3 of them. Were there any other madhabs out there and so forth. So basically that's the kind of aim. That's the aim of the evolution of fiqh course. Mark Zappa, can you recommend an authentic book with explanation of Jahiliyyah poetry in English? In English, I'm not too sure, you know. What you can do is there's a guy called Mustafa Al-Qabbani, right? He's a Maulana. Mustafa Al-Qabbani, Sheikh Mustafa Al-Qabbani. If you go to him on YouTube, contact him. He's very good in this, right? He kind of like is very, very good in this, like the English sort of like literature in classical poetry. I don't really kind of read too much of this kind of stuff, but he's into that kind of stuff, like reading translations and all that. So he's the best guy to ask about this. Lots of Orientalists have done work on them. You'd be surprised. What's your opinion about following Ahl al-Hadith? I disagree with the Ahl al-Hadith movement. I understand it, I respect it, but I disagree. I prefer to follow a madhab. What's your view on Hagia Sophia situation? I don't really know, you know. I mean, it seems to be slowly, everything seems to be coming out now. This is like normally with news. What happens is when it first comes out, everyone's sensationalized about it. And then slowly things start coming out. Then you start to understand. So if you ask me in a week or so, maybe I'll have more information about it. But it seems as though what's happened basically is more of a political stunt than anything else, right? So it's basically like, Turkey knows that if they were to declare Hagia Sophia as being a masjid, it's going to have a really big response, backlash from the West, right? Because that's like one thing that they're very, very annoyed about, making one of their classical historical monuments into a mosque. That's the kind of thing, So I think it's more to do with like this issue of the reaction, world reaction. I think it's a good thing. It's theirs. It's the right of the Turkish people. It was a mosque for many years. Okay, let's check out some more questions on Curious Cat then. Assalamu alaikum. What is Hanafi ruling regarding females cutting their hair? There's a difference of opinion. One opinion is quite strict. It's generally the one taken by Indian subcontinent scholars, which is they can't cut their hair except trimming. And the other opinion is the more Hanafi, the Arab Hanafi scholars, which is they're allowed to cut their hair up to their ears. Yeah, as long as they don't resemble men's hair in the society, then it's fine. What is the best way to study from a book, for example, Seerah? It all depends what kind of Seerah book. There's loads of Seerah books out there, and they've got different styles and different ways that they've been written. I mean, if you ask me how I would study it, looking at exactly how events took place, and I would look at the discussion regarding each event historically from a hadith point of view, which may not be what you're kind of looking into because you might be a beginner. So if you're a beginner, I would say all you have to do is just try to remember the main things that occurred chronologically. Try to remember that and how you can become inspired by that, the lessons you can learn. That's for a total beginner, that is. But if you're asking me, I'm someone that's studied and read books of Seerah for many years now. So, I mean, for me, what I would look for is more of like an academic discussion regarding validity of certain narrations and who was involved in this particular incident and how this fits in with Quranic and how fiqh and all that plays a role. Assalamu alaikum. What would you give what would you give to a working married couple, or advice would you give to a married couple that want to further in their Islamic studies or alimiyah? What is your opinion on women working full-time and also having kids? Are you planning to have your own private alim class in the future? Okay, so working couples. I teach in a Sufa Institute and I teach couples right over there. So sometimes in one class there'll be a husband, and maybe in another class there'll be a wife, and many times I've seen this happen, and it's been very successful. Usually kind of like they last all the way, and then maybe in the end they have to drop out. One has to drop out because of other family commitments. But yeah, it's possible. What's your opinion on women working full time? I don't have an issue with it. If they need to work, I don't see a problem. And also having kids. I mean, I don't have kids myself, so I think it's best to ask people who do have kids about this kind of question. I mean, I've seen people that have kids and they're able to study, and I've seen people that have kids and they can't study. So, are you planning to have your own private alim class in the near future? I did have like an intention of having this, but it's not going to be like a class which is going to be like a madrasa system where I'm enrolling people and I'm teaching them. I don't want to have that kind of thing for myself. The reason being is there's lots of other places that do that. And I personally think that I would be spending too much of my time in trying to do like basic tarbiyah of beginner students, and I don't really have that time. What I would prefer to have is students who have studied a good level of alimiyah, or maybe graduates, and then maybe designing some sort of like a syllabus or a course that would be specialized for that area. Yeah, so it won't teach them everything in the Hanafi fiqh or in hadith or in aqidah or tafsir, but it'll focus on certain areas. So it develops them in being able to research. That's one of the most important things people need. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. If someone squeezes a pimple and blood flows out, and the blood would not have flown out if he didn't squeeze it, would break? Yes, it would break. Another question. Does donating blood break wudu? Yes, it does. Where does Sadaqallah al-Azim after reciting come from? I don't really know where it comes from, but it's like something very recently. Like, it's been a few hundred years that it's come out. It's not from the Prophet ﷺ, it's not from the Quran, it's not from the Sahaba. Wa alaikum assalam. I was wondering if it would be allowed to break salat to answer the door for a food delivery. I started salat on time and the food delivery guy came. Yes, possible. Yeah, in that kind of situation, it may be possible to break the salat in that situation. Yeah, because that's considered to be like a need, a human need. And the fuqaha say things like you can break your salat if, for instance, like you believe that your property will be stolen. So if you believe your shoes are going to be stolen or anything like that, someone's in danger. So these are kind of valid reasons for such a thing. Yeah. If you know that the person can wait and wouldn't be a problem, then ideally finish off your salat. According to the Hanafis, is one supposed to recite anything behind the Imam during even quiet Jamaat? No. Does this only refer to Quran recitation? Quran Fatiha? Yes. So only Quran recitation. Everything else they read behind the Imam. Or does include tasbih? No. So only Quran basically. And the reason being is the Quran mentions when the Quran is recited, be quiet. When the Quran is recited, be quiet. That's what it says. Sheikh, do you have to use tajweed when reciting the tashahhud? No. Tajweed is only for Quran, nothing else. So you don't say things like Subhana Rabbiyal Azim. No, you don't have to. Just Subhana Rabbiyal Azim, Subhana Rabbiyal Azim, Subhana Rabbiyal Azim. As long as you're just pronouncing it, you're uttering the letters correctly. That's it. Done. Salam, have you considered making your 17th course available to Seekers Guidance or other Islamic institutes? Making it available to them? I don't understand. If they want to do something like that, it's fine. I don't mind. Yeah. And mashallah, I mean, I've had so many people who have actually benefited from the 17 lessons. And like one brother in Bangladesh, he's actually designed his own course based on the 17 lessons. He contacted me, he got advice from me, he did a course as well. And he's developed his own one. And I encouraged him to do that. I said, develop your own one, it's fine. And also another brother as well, mashallah, who usually comes on the live streams as well. He also developed the course into his own style. I have no issue with that. If you want to develop it, excellent, develop it. And that's what ilm should be. Ilm should be all about taking from other people and then developing your own thing, and trying to make it unique. And this is how knowledge is taught. There's not one way of teaching knowledge which is the best way. Knowledge differs. The way you teach knowledge differs from country to country, era to era, time to time. You'll be surprised that something that is taught in India, Bangladesh and Pakistan, if you try to teach it over here in the same way it's taught over there, it probably won't work. It'll probably fail. And that studies have been done on this, where I was speaking to a friend of mine, and he was saying that studies were done by university to see how they could develop teaching a language, the English language, here and in India. And they found that in India you couldn't teach it like you taught it here, because the way that they understand education is very different from how it's understood in the West. So I would say take it, develop it, alhamdulillah. But I don't exactly know what was meant by available to Seekers Guidance or other Islamic institutes. I've started your Surah Yasin course and I'm beginning to see the patterns of noticing verbs and nouns and pronouns when going through the course. Is this the level that one should reach after? Yes, definitely. Definitely, that's what happened. So in the Surah Yasin, you're going to start to see. The idea is you're not going to go through the entire Quran in this method. You're going to go through a lot of Quran, but then you're going to start to be able to learn techniques and skills that you can utilize in trying to understand other sections in the Quran. Now, if you want to go and study like a tafsir from someone, you'll already know exactly how to map out the grammar of the verses. Assalamu alaikum. Could you do a course on Arabic stories with translation for beginners to advanced level? Most Arabic books out there don't have English with Arabic. Yeah, that's a good idea. I was actually thinking about designing my own like series of books. Like you have Qasasun Nabiyin basically, but that's like really kind of like throws you in the deep end straight away, isn't it? So I want to start off from the beginners, easy, then develop, like kids books basically, different levels. So have something like that, develop it until it becomes very advanced. So it kind of like, it fills in the gaps where students, when they go to madrasa, they're either gonna have to start reading Qiraat al-Rashida, Qasas al-Nabiyyin, or books, of that kind of that type. where you have these other sort of like you know texts that they're kind of exposed to. So I think, yeah, I'm actually looking into that. Okay, next. All right, let's check out some questions over here. MashaAllah, I like your new background and videos. Jazakallah khair, HVC. Thank you very much. SCSDF, the 17 lessons course has really revolutionized learning Arabic language in English. Great course for a student beginning Arabic studies. Jazakallah khair. Thank you very much. Alhamdulillah, may Allah put barakah in there. May Allah. And this is the main thing that I always made dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I've always said, I've been making this dua for like, I don't know how many years now. I've always made dua to Allah that, oh Allah, please accept me for the khidmat of the deen and allow me to be able to make learning the Quran easy for the world. That's one dua I've always been making, that making the Quran easy, because I personally believe a lot of problems that Muslims have in their communities with regards to religion and things like that, I think a lot of them would be clarified if Muslims themselves could simply understand what the Quran is saying. I think that's considered to be like a very sort of like important thing. Muhammad Uddin, bookcase is Hermes from IKEA, right? Yeah, I think that's it. Begins with H. Hermes or him, something like that. Dr. A.S. A scholar said, if a person commits kufr but starts performing salah with iman, he re-enters the fold of Islam as he recites the kalimat. Is this correct? Possibly, yeah. Possibly, if his heart is obviously correct and he believes in Islam and doesn't have any sort of like kufr beliefs. FIFA, is it haram to think about doing haram very vividly? Imam Ibn Abidin rahimahullah mentions this, and he says that although the Hanafis have not mentioned it, he says it would be wrong. Yeah, it would be wrong to like kind of like enjoy the like haram thoughts, as though someone's doing something haram, and enjoy those kind of thoughts in your head that you're doing those kind of acts or whatever you're doing in your head. He said that would be it would be impermissible. To say it's haram, it would be problematic. Difficult to say it's haram, but it would be impermissible. Thank you, Val. You're welcome. Muhammad, have you heard of Mawlid Reader? Really good 46 plus dictionaries in Arabic. Okay. And Almanac 40 plus dictionaries. Yeah, I think I've heard of them. Yeah. Okay, it works. Does it work good? Yeah. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. CSDF, how does a Muslim keep his iman intact in the secular society when religion is being attacked from every corner? That's a very, very good question. That is honestly a very good question. That's something we need to come together and we need to think of ideas of how to preserve. Everyone's trying to do it. Masjids are trying to do it. Maktabs are trying to do it. Youth clubs are trying to do it. Scholars giving their talks, YouTube channels, everything that we're trying to do. This is basically a manifestation of preservation of Iman. Yeah, so preservation of Iman comes in many forms and people are trying to do it. Now, some people are not very successful in doing it. And some people just need a bit of tweaking. But there is this idea that, look, we need to continue to try and preserve people's Iman. Right? And whatever method we can use, which is within the limits of Islam, definitely. Shayan, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Can you explain the etymology of Islam? You mean the word Islam? Where the word Islam comes from? Okay, give me a 5 minutes, inshallah. 10 minutes break, inshallah, and I'll be back, inshallah. And then I'll also answer Shayan's question as well. I'll just check the time now. So I'll be back, inshallah, in about 5-10 minutes, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ahlan wa sahlan. Welcome back, guys. Hope you guys are well. Okay, so let's crack on then. So there's quite a lot of questions today. I might not be able to get through all of these questions. Right. Right, just let me know if the sound's working. If you guys can hear. Alright, so I think we should start then. Alright, so Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Back to questions. Salam, if the point of learning Arabic grammar is to be able to understand Quran without translation, but then your translation is similar to English translation out there, is there anything gained by learning Arabic apart from seeing how sentences are structured? Yes, definitely. So basically, for one thing you have to understand is, look, the Quran is a book which is revealed in the Arabic language, which was spoken in the 1,400 years ago approximately. Yeah. So what you want to do is you want to be able to understand that text as best as possible. So therefore, how are you going to understand this? So you need two things. You need to know that the structure of the sentences, you're understanding them correctly. So for that, you need to be able to know the grammar that's involved behind it, and you need to be able to understand the meaning of the words. So meaning of the words on their own will not help you, and the grammar on their own won't help you. You need both for these. So when you're studying Arabic grammar, sometimes a verse will have like 5 or even 10 different applications. Yeah. So you don't get these in translations. In translation, sometimes you might read a translation, you might see the translation is off. It's wrong. Right? So you need to understand how much scope is there in understanding the verse. And you can only do that if you know exactly the rules of the Arabic grammar that was preserved in the Arabic language at that time. Not just in the Quran, but all the other texts that was available to them. So this is why Arabic grammar is extremely important if you truly want to understand. Like I'll give you an example. وَالَّذِينَ آتَيْنَاهُ الْكِتَابَ يَتْلُونَهُ حَقَّ تِلَاوَتِهِ أُولَٰئِكَ الذين آتيناهم الكتاب يتلون حق تلاوته أولئك هم المهتدون. Yeah. أولئك. What's the verse after that? Anyway, the point is in this verse is يتلونه حق تلاوته. This is a verse where a lot of people make a mistake in translating this part. If you don't know that يتلونه حق تلاوته can have several possible meanings and each possible meaning has its implications, then you're not going to understand it correctly. So that's why grammar is extremely important for that. So I would disagree with is there anything gained by learning grammar apart from seeing how sentences are structured grammatically? Yeah, there's loads. That's what you want. You want to be able to see like how much scope there is in the sentence. So you're not making a mistake. You're not speaking outside of that. Okay. The problem when people study, for example, like Arabic, and they don't go all the way, the full way of studying Arabic. So imagine Arabic was like, a 10-mile sort of like journey. A lot of people, when they study Arabic, they only go like up to 1 mile, that's it. And then they think that they can understand everything, and they think, well, everything makes sense. No point in me going any further. If you really want to understand the Quran, you have to go all 10 miles without a doubt. You need to understand all the different madhabs in Arabic grammar. Okay, all the madhabs you need to understand. You need to understand the different qira'at. You need to understand the different types of poetry that existed at that time. If you really want to be able to fully understand and appreciate the Quran. Uh, okay, why do some scholars act single and are very free with women more than their own wife? I'm I think this kind of question is not a question that is for scholars. I think it's for any man out there. If any man is married and they are acting with women, flirting with women publicly, or more than their own wife, then there's a problem in the marriage. Yeah, clearly there's a problem in the marriage. Wife and husband need to sit down, sort things out, because maybe the husband needs a second wife. I don't know. Maybe they've got some other problems, underlying problems they're not discussing. Right, so this clearly is a problem. I'm not justifying what the scholar is doing to be correct. It's something which has to be discussed, right? And I know in this kind of society, I know there are lots of people, not just scholars, but other people as well, who are involved in, like, outer marriage relationships, getting married to other wives without their wives knowing. But it's these kind of issues are big problems. So why do so? I don't know the answer to that. That's the answer that I don't know who's asking. I think you need to ask a scholar who's like that. Salam. I'm planning a weekend break in Scotland with my wife, her siblings, and her parents. We're planning to stay 2 nights and to sightsee, have meals together in the evening. Is this okay in Islam? Yes, should be okay. No one will be unaccompanied with a non-mahram, and my wife's sister feels that there will be no segregation and doesn't want to join. What do you think? It's up to her, and it's her right. If she doesn't want to join, then she doesn't have to join. She's married and both her and husband are invited. I don't see the issue. Yeah. So, I mean, she might take the position that her understanding of segregation is, very, very restricted to the home, not wanting to go out, and then we have to respect that. But yeah, I don't see a problem as long as close families, as long as they are sort of, understanding, like the barriers and the restrictions that the Sharia has put between men and women in that kind of situation, then it's fine. Yeah. And these kind of things are things that in our society today, it's very difficult to kind of avoid these kind of things. And classically as well, if you understand Sahaba interactions with men and women, it wasn't the way that we kind of understand segregation today, which is like a wall where there's no communication between the man and the woman, and some will even say that the woman's voice is considered to be an aura. So segregation has to be understood correctly, right? There is no concept in Islam that men cannot communicate with women, right? There's no concept like that in Islam. Communication is there, but the communication has to be done in a healthy way, like the Quran says. Yeah, that it has to be in a healthy way so that people with illnesses in their hearts or kind of lust don't take advantage of women. And vice versa. So I would say speak to them. If they're not happy, we can't force them. The thing is, see, your version of how you practice Islam, if it's not something which is from the like qat'iyat, those things which are categorical, you're not supposed to be forcing them on other people. So for instance, like if your position is that your trousers have to be above the ankles and it's impermissible under the ankles, this is a mukhtalaf fihi, this is an ikhtilafi issue anyway. So you shouldn't be going around forcing people to do it like this. Yeah. And likewise, when it comes to other matters as well. I just gave the example of this because this is an ikhtilafi issue. Likewise, when it comes to these kind of... So clearly, the person asking this question is saying that there is this understanding of segregation there. But it's just that one couple are uncomfortable with that situation. And if they are uncomfortable with it, then we have to respect that. Wa alaikum assalam. Alhamdulillah, I was blessed this year to take gap year from university to go to employment for a year. Through money I saved this year, I was planning on going on Hajj with me and my mom. Obviously, with coronavirus, this plan has no longer come through. The plan in my head was to go next year again, inshallah. However, I had the thought the other day that with this money saved, I could avoid taking out my student loan for my 3rd year of university. Doing this, the plan to go Hajj next year would no longer be possible. What should I do? Yes, I would say go universities. Use that money to go university and save yourself from having to take out a loan. And Hajj would not be necessary on you unless you have the money in the days of Hajj. Okay, assalamu alaikum. Can zakat qurbani be paid on behalf of someone else without their permission? No, it wouldn't be considered on their behalf then. It would be considered nafal on their behalf, but it wouldn't be considered a fard on their behalf. So you must get permission from someone else if you want to do qurbani on their behalf. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. What do you think of the book Umdatul Fiqh? Do you think, do you know if there is an English translation? I'm not, I've kind of skimmed through it. It's a basic text in Hanbali madhab by Ibn Qudam Maqdisi. He's got several books, like he's got like about 3 or 4 books that he's written deliberately in progressive order. So from beginners, intermediate, advanced. Mughni is like the advanced version of it. So yeah, it's a good book. English translations, I'm not too sure. I think there might be. Yeah. Best person to find out from maybe someone like Musa Farber, Sheikh Musa Farber. I think he's probably the best guy. Farber, I don't know how to say his name. So check him out, Musa Farber. He's on social media as well, Facebook. You can contact him and ask him. I think he's the best guy. Okay, I'm not sure if my previous question went through. I'll post it again. If a woman and a man were married and had a baby girl, while the woman was breastfeeding, she also breastfed her friend's daughter called Aisha. Later, the woman and her husband divorced and the woman married Bilal. Will Bilal be Aisha's mahram? As Bilal is not the Labanul Fahal, but he's the husband of Aisha's foster mother. Okay, let me read this question again. Okay, so I'm not sure. If a woman and man were married and had a baby girl, okay. While the woman was breastfeeding, she also breastfed her friend's daughter called Aisha. Okay, so Aisha becomes her breastfed daughter. Later, the woman and her husband divorced and the woman married Bilal. Will Bilal be Aisha's mahram, as Bilal is not the Laban al-Fahl? Yeah, he wouldn't. Yeah, it wouldn't be. Yeah, he wouldn't be. He wouldn't be considered to be Laban. He wouldn't be considered to be Aisha's mahram. No. Okay. As Bilal is not the Laban al-Fahl, but he's the husband of Aisha's foster mother. Yeah, so see, in this situation, there's two things. One is not Laban al-Fahl, but other one is there's a text in Bahr al-Ra'iq that mentions that if a husband was to like not produce the milk, but that person would be, yeah, no, it wouldn't be. Yeah, it wouldn't. Yeah, there wouldn't be mahrams. Okay, Assalamu alaikum. Do jinns live in bathrooms? I don't know. When we say the dua entering the bathroom, what happens to them? So it's just jinns don't live in bathrooms or anything. I don't know where people get this from. But the Prophet ﷺ says jinns are in areas that are filthy areas. So I think some people have used that to think that they're in bathrooms. So the point of this dua is that Allah protects a person from being influenced by jinn, because this is a time when they are, vulnerable, right? They're naked, they're vulnerable, and to protect ourselves, we say this dua. We don't know the exact, details of what exactly happens, but we've been told to read this dua to protect us from jinn. Why is the sunnah method of istinja wiping the dry first and then washing the water? Why isn't it with water? The sunnah method is actually not with dry first and water. The sunnah method is actually either use dry or use water, but the scholars say it is considered preferred to use dry and then water. So the hadith out there about istinja, there is hadith where the Prophet ﷺ used dry stones to do istinja and clean himself, and there's a hadith that mentioned that he used water, but there's no authentic hadith that mentions combination of the two. Fuqaha have understood that from the concept, this concept. They've understood that from the concept of, both of these being the optimal way of cleaning yourself. Like, for example, if a person goes to the toilet and that person, does number 1 or number 2, right, urinates or defecates, then by using a tissue or something, what happens is they clean the majority of it. like the large bits. And then by using the water simply just gets rid of. Now, if sometimes, for example, you only use water, you might be there trying to clean, and then, it makes more mess, and then it takes more time to clean. So this is why the logic behind that. Do sins really fall off our bodies when doing wudu? It's mentioned in the hadith, yes. Is this for everyone or select few? For everyone. That's what the hadith says it for everyone. That anyone who does wudu, then with every drop, Allah forgives sins that are committed by their face and by their arms. And it refers to minor sins, by the way. Minor sins are those sins that a person does where, there's no strict punishment attached to it. Does a woman get money? Is there physical discharge? I don't know. This is like an ikhtilaf issue. They don't get money, right? They don't get semen. Women don't get semen. That's only in men. But some women may experience a discharge, at that time. But yeah, I mean, this is why the Hanafis say that it's more to do with the idea of, again, if kids are watching, turn away now. It's more to do with the idea of having this, sexual sort of orgasm. In your understanding, what is meant by فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ? My understanding is what the tafsir say, that this is a statement which Allah says to the humans and to the jinns, that which of the bounties of Allah do you deny? As in, why do humans behave like this? Why do we live our lives in the morning without remembering Allah, sinning and not helping the poor and not taking care of our health, not taking care of our parents? These are all denying the bounties of Allah. We're going past every minute of the day without really acknowledging what Allah has done for us. Is it sunnah to say Ameen after completing the recitation of Surah Fatiha? Yes. In Salat is. In Salat. It's mustahab outside of Salat. It is cited on page 160 of Mustafa Sadiq Rafi's work, The Miraculous Nature of the Quran and the Prophetic Rhetoric, that Al-Ja'ad ibn Dirham, tutor of Umayyad Khalifa Marwan, said, the Quran's eloquence is not a miracle and people can do it like it. Yeah, so there is an ikhtilaf with regards to, I did mention this before as well. I said to you, Ibn Hazm's opinion and others are that the Arabic language, the miracle is not in the bayan of the Arabic language. Yeah, it's in the content. Their argument is that it's in the content. So yeah, I mean, there are those kind of opinions out there, but this is not the opinion which has been taken by many of the scholars. Many of the scholars disagree. So many of the early people, like Ja'ad and others, their argument was that the miracle in the Quran is Allah has made incapable humans of replicating the Quran. They call this sarfa or sirfa. Yeah, so this topic is like the issue where a lot of people have been asking these days about the qira'at. A lot of people have been asking this kind of thing. So this requires study of the Arabic language. There's no other way. There's no other way to explain to a person of how the miracle of the Quran, because most Muslims will not see the miracle of the Quran. Most Muslims will not see it. They can't, because they don't know Arabic. They haven't studied how the Quran was revealed and the language that was spoken in them days, and so they can't experience the miracle. Okay, MashaAllah, Allahu Akbar, CSDF, Jazakallah Khair, may Allah bless you, CSDF, may Allah put barakah in your time, in your life. Yeah, MashaAllah, very, very touched, bro, for that. Jazakallah Khair, thank you very much, may Allah reward you. I'm having a big identity crisis. I am British, I'm born in the UK, but my parents are not. I don't feel entirely at home here, as I do not feel comfortable practicing my deen, and the morals of the UK don't align with my own. Equally, in my parents' country, I feel like a stranger too, and I'm not able to speak the language properly. Any advice? I can't give you advice on this. That's to be honest. I don't know exactly why you're feeling this. Is it because the area that you live in? Is it because you're living in a predominantly Asian area, Muslim area? Is it because you haven't lived with or worked with non-Muslims? Is it because you haven't traveled that much? I think generally what tends to happen, if a person has not traveled outside their community, if you haven't lived outside your community in other localities, in other places where there's minority Muslims living there, or abroad, I think it's very difficult to be able to understand, to get your own identity. Right? It's very, very difficult. And I think a lot of people, when they live in predominantly Asian Muslim areas, I'm assuming the person asking this is Asian, then this is what tends to happen, is that we find it very difficult, because our close-knit communities make it very difficult to be able to appreciate the culture of non-Muslims. The culture of non-Muslims in this country is a very nice culture in many ways. We only see certain things, like for example drinking alcohol or clubbing or these kind of things, and we see them as bad, but they've got other lots of good things in there. If we don't see what the non-Muslims have to offer in our countries, then I personally think that we haven't really kind of appreciated the society that we're living in. And many of us are young and we don't have experience, but live amongst non-Muslims, live amongst Christians, live amongst Jews, live amongst atheists and whatever. I'm not saying obviously you have to adopt their beliefs, but you're going to appreciate what you have. Yeah, and then you'll be able to identify yourself. You'll know, okay, I'm a British born Asian, Pakistani, Bengali, Indian or Somalian or whatever, and this is my beliefs, and I'm British. I live in this country. I don't agree with drinking alcohol. I don't agree with fornication or whatever. But yeah. So I think a lot of people, they find it difficult simply because they don't move out of the areas. They don't have a lot of exposure. That's what my experience is. If you ask me, I might be wrong. I don't know. Maybe someone here in the comments can probably shed more light. All right, all the questions on there are answered. All right, let's get back to your guys' questions now. All right, would you consider doing a tafsir in English of Ibn Ashur Quran tafsir? Not really. No, it's very long, time consuming, and I don't see the need for an English audience to need to know what's in that book. Yeah, I know there's a lot of people that are just translating things, and I don't see the reason why people are in this craze of translating everything in English. I don't see the reason, because if you wanna study it, just study Arabic. Thought you don't like answering questions, as mentioned in podcasts. I don't like answering except on Saturdays. Saturdays live stream, I like answering them. Wa alaikum assalam. I Hussein. Any recommendations how to improve Arabic listening and comprehension? Any speakers or lectures you can suggest, considering that we may not have interactions? Remind me at the end, inshallah. Remind me at the end. I don't like, because I always answer this one, and I think you missed out earlier on. I did mention some things. Saad Patel. I don't like this new comment thing you changed. Oh, you don't like it? Yeah, is it because it's a bit... Oh, you can't see the... Yeah, so what I'll do next time, I'll put a black background there, so it's a bit clearer. Or is it... Or are you saying is because it's too large? Is it too big? It's a bit too big. Okay, let's check. Saad Patel, bro. I listen to you, man. So what I'll try to... I'm just a bit experimenting with these kind of things. I just want to make it look a bit nice for you guys. You know what I'm saying? What's a good character? How does one develop good adab? A good character is simply being a good person. That's all it means. Just be a good person. There's no... See, the thing is, when the Sahaba, for instance, like when the Prophet came amongst them, they had many good characters amongst them anyway, characteristics. And the Prophet said, "Ji'tu li utammim makarim al-akhlaq." I've just come to complete the good characteristics you guys have. So when people start practicing Islam, they think that you have to learn how to be a human, which is totally wrong. That's like silly days, because we already have culture. Cultures, they teach people of manners. Every culture has manners in them. Yeah. So the mannerisms of the society, the adab, the etiquettes of the society, that's basically what the character is. Be a good person, be kind to your parents, be kind to your elders, have mercy on your youngsters, help people who are on the street, anyone who's in need, that kind of stuff. After Surah Shu'ara, the consultation, he extends provision for whom he wills and restricts. Question, is Allah provide money required things to us? Question is Allah provide money, the required things to us? I don't understand that. If you can elaborate, Aftab. And Fatima, assalamu alaikum. In Mughni, at the topic of al, there was jins, and within it are two types of lil istighraq, lil afrad and lil istighraq, lil khasais lil ifrad. Can you explain? I don't have time now to explain, but generally, jins means this basically. It means, like, for example, when you're discussing something, like if I'm discussing something with you and we're talking about something that we both know what we're talking about, then the thing that we're talking about doesn't exist in the real world. It's just an abstract concept that we're talking about. So this is known as a jins in Arabic, right? So when you have an al on such a word there, you call that al an alif lam lil jins. Like, for example, some people argue, for instance, like innal insana lafi khusr. Indeed, man is in loss. Which man are we talking about? So we're talking about, theoretically in our minds, man, the concept of man is in loss. And some will argue that no, this is al-lil istighraq. Yeah, so alif lam istighraq means all afrad, every single individual of humans, every single one of them that exists in the world. At the moment there's 7 billion, but in reality there's like billions and billions maybe that existed. Every single kullu insan fi khusr. Right? So this is like the way you kind of look at a language, the way you look at an expression, what is meant by this. So this is generally what istighraq and jins basically means. I mean, I'd have to look at the whole text of what he's saying exactly to see, what you're referring to. I haven't seen Mughni in a very long time. Aftab, assalamu alaikum assalam. Aftab, Saad Patel, is he Mufti Farooq Hassan Zay, your iftar teacher? Yes, Mufti Farooq Hassan Zay is my iftar teacher. He taught me mirath, inheritance. What was the name of the school at which you studied iftar? I studied iftar at a place called Tayyiba, Jamia Tayyiba. CSDF, does that lamp give enough light to be able to read books in the dark? That lamp at the back. If you sit under it, yeah. If you sit under it. Imran Al-Mu'min. Alaikum salam. Please remember, Ameen. Imran, you always ask dua, and we're always making dua for the ummah. You don't have to tell us, my brother. Jazakallah khair for reminding us. CSDF, will there be a concept of time and space in Jannah? There's a hadith that says we will see Allah on Fridays. Yes, definitely. Why not? Why not? Yeah, a concept of time and space, definitely. Because the idea of abad is mentioned over there. Abad. Abada khalidina, for a very long time. So this idea of time, maybe it'll be a different concept of time. Like we understand time today in a certain way, but maybe the concept of time over there will be in a totally different way from what we understand. Like in this world, when we think about the body being nourished, we think about nourishing the body in a certain way. Like food goes into your body, it's broken down, the cells absorb it, and then everything happens. But maybe like time like this, and when we experience time in this world, maybe time will be in a totally different nature in the hereafter. We don't know. Favorite fast food joint in Birmingham? Sakib's, yeah. What? We email you directly. Yeah, if you email directly on the email at the bottom. Yeah, on the email at the bottom. So at the bottom there should be email there. Okay. Is it frozen? Okay, GG Gamers, hi. Shaheen Rahman, Allahu Akbar. You may have retracted message, Allah. Is gaming haram? Not necessarily. Depends what you play. Thanks for teaching me Quran. Bye. Bye. Habib was saying, on estimation, how much do all the books in the background are in pounds? I have no idea. Not that much. Because a lot of them I got from Pakistan. They're quite cheap when I was studying there. So I don't really know how much they'd come up to. Maybe, probably, no more. I don't think there'll be more than like I don't think it'll be more than maybe £1,000, maybe even less. That's like being very sort of like generous. On estimation, what's this question over here? Allahu Akbar. Okay, on estimation, how much? 42 Surah Shu'ara. He is the hearing, the seeing. He is of all things knowing. He knows what lies within the breast. Is Allah watching us now? Allahu Akbar. After, but you're trying to test me, brother. I think you probably know the answer already, and maybe it sounds as though you're trying to test me, so I won't answer that question. Carl Smith, can I email you a short 3-page qasida to be translated or discussed with me? I probably won't have time to discuss if it's a lot of discussion. If it's like a quick answer that I can give, that's fine. But to go through a discussion of it, maybe I probably won't have time. I do apologize. But if it's like a small answer that maybe I can answer. Amina, like Oxford Reading 3-stage, something like that. Yeah, definitely, something like that. It's going to take time to kind of like develop that story series. Big Moshik, why always take breaks, mate? I'm a human, bro. I need the the strength. I need to breaks. Evolve. Spend time in Jamaat Tabligh. Sharif Will. Wa alaikum assalam. إن شاء منكم أن يتقدم. Sorry, I can't read that one there. شاء منكم أن يتقدم أو يتأخر. Surah Mudaththir. Please give some insight into this ayah. Sha'a, is this will that is mentioned a natural ability? لمن شاء منكم أن يتقدم أو يتأخر. So this, like when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses the mashi'a sha'a is referring to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala giving humans like ability to be able to do things, right? So some people are going to be able to excel from other people, and others people will not excel. This could be one of the possible meanings of يتقدم أو يتأخر, or يتقدم in the dunya, يتأخر, يتقدم in the akhirah, يتأخر. Yeah, this is something which can be from the fadl of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So in other words, like when we do everything that we do, if I put the light on, if I sit here, if I talk to you guys, like it seems as though I'm doing everything, but behind the scenes, my cells and everything is in the control of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the mashi'at of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which we can't escape. So when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran says, you know, مَا تَشَاءُونَ إِلَّا إِن يَشَاءَ اللَّهُ, then nothing happens. You can't you can't will anything except with the will of Allah. This shows Allah is in control of every single thing. Why, Elephant, what do Muslims believe about the Holy Ghost? So, are you referring to the angel Gabriel? Yeah, so the angel Gabriel, we believe the angel Gabriel is like an angel like all of the angels. He's given a high status above all the angels, but he has no power to be able to do anything without the instruction and permission by Allah himself. So Allah himself gives permission to his angels to carry out their duties. And the angel Jibreel or Gabriel, we consider him to be the most noblest of the angels. Salam Ustaji, are we obliged to attend Jummah even though it's likely we won't get there before the quota of people fills up? I mean, try. I would say you try to. Yeah, you try to attend if you can. And if you can't, then you simply just pray your Dhuhr. Yeah, so you try to attend if the quota is filled up, and then you just pray Dhuhr. Muhammad Uthman, if someone has uncontrolled bleeding from the gums due to gum disease, is the wudu still broken? Hanafi Mata, Jazakallah Khair. I'm now on lesson 6 on MashaAllah. Excellent, Muhammad Uthman, Jazakallah Khair. Muhammad Uthman is one of our 17 Quranic Arabic 17 lesson students. If it's so much that a person keeps spitting, yeah, then that person would have to repeat their wudu. Yeah, it'll be considered broken. But if it's less, if they spit and it's not majority of it, then the wudu will be fine. White Elephant, do you prefer personally think Allah will destroy America? No, I don't think Allah will destroy America. America is a country. I mean, Allah has destroyed nations in the past. He destroyed, nations, and He gave nations power. The destruction of nations is something that even happened to Muslim nations have been destroyed. Right? So the destruction and the revival of nations is something that Allah always does. Yeah, He puts people in power, He takes people away from power. So I mean, I don't exactly know how you Christians have an understanding of how God works in the universe, but the way that we see things is that God will make things happen in the world, whether it's in favor for an evil person or a good person. He'll make things happen, but ultimately all of this is for the test. So, for example, like the Pharaoh, God gave him power, God gave him strength, God gave him riches and ability to do things, right? But that was all part of a test. So, in other words, when we experience things in life as well, this is the same thing that will happen. So, when we say, for example, like God will destroy this person, we believe that God will destroy Muslims as well, and God says that in the Quran as well, that those who do not speak up against the atrocities of people, we believe that God will destroy them. Yeah, so I read somewhere some time ago once that Abdullah ibn Mubarak said we learned adab in 18 years and knowledge for 2 years. Can you explain what this meant? Yeah, so basically what this meant was that the early years, how people used to learn knowledge was a bit different. It was more like you stay in the company of someone, you be an apprentice to them for many years, and then you officially start studying with them. Yeah, so this is how it was in the past. In fact, Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal, they say he used to have 2,000 people attending some of his gatherings, and only 500 came to learn hadith from him. The rest came to learn, like to be in the company of him, to learn from his company, from his like advice and things like that. So, like for example, like this live stream would be like a enjoying the company. Yeah, enjoying the company would be. It wouldn't be about learning. There might be a few people who are really actively learning, but the rest would be just to get the questions answered and just to kind of benefit from. What's in the big mug? It's this basically. It's called puka. So I don't know if can you see that? Is it backwards? It's called puka. Yeah, so what's your opinion of tariqah? And I was told I will go to hell if I deny the maqam of my sheikhs and sheikh. So I've mentioned this before. When it comes to the concept of tariqah, right? The tasawwuf tariqah, this isn't something that we have to do. It is simply a way. It's like training, basically, getting a mentor to kind of help you train faster. So if you want to kind of lose, get a six pack or lose weight or make your body rip, like they say, you get in contact with a mentor, you get in contact with a personal trainer, and he gets you the fast track. He fast tracks you so your body becomes like this. So the idea of tariqah is, in my understanding, this is what it is. It's simply you get access to someone who has lots of experience in how to deal with spiritual ailments, problems. You ask him questions, you show him your routine, and then he gives you some tips and ideas, and then he helps you out. Otherwise, there is no benefit in tariqahs at all. There is no benefit, in my opinion, right? And if a person lived their entire life without affiliating themselves with a tariqah of tasawwuf, they would not be like any less than a person who did, right? The main thing is keeping good company. That's what the Quran tells us. Keep good company. That's what it's all about. Keep good company. Keep good company. And this idea of if you don't have a sheikh and the shaitan's your sheikh, I mean, Allah, I don't know which like reference they get this from. It just seems to be something which is more to do with this idea, like I said, this idea of finding a mentor. Why elephant? Fake news and so much more. I feel like America is a promised land, but I think that God will hold America accountable. I think God will hold everyone accountable, like I said. Everyone, people of the UK, people of Pakistan, people of India, people will be held responsible for their actions. And this is something that we have to understand of how the world works. Is there any du'as you should read in pregnancy? I mean, there isn't anything which is prescribed by the Prophet ﷺ or in the Quran or anything, but there are some scholars say reading Surah Yasin and asking Allah to make things easy for you. I think that's something which you can say. CSD, what will you cover in your Medina course series once you publish it? I don't know if I'm going to publish it. It's just going to basically going through the book, Medina series book, right? And I'm just going to be explaining it. It's basically like it's going to be a follow-on from the 17 lessons, but it'll cover more vocab and it'll cover more like non-Quranic text, so you can kind of like fill in the gaps that you have and be able to read Arabic and write Arabic as well. It's going to be focused more on that. Amina, regarding Aisha and her mum through breastfeeding husband, I remember I asked you that question last year, and I told that some Hanafi ulama have written that they will be mahram. Didn't cause that milk. Yeah, so there is a text, like I did mention, I said there is a text in Bahr Raik, but that text in Bahr Raik is to do with if the husband has not provided the milk, and she produced the milk from expressing milk through some medication. So she takes some medication. So she's got a husband. She takes some medication. She breastfeeds, let's say Aisha. Now Aisha will Aisha become a breastfeeding child for the husband who hasn't provided the milk? Then that's where the Bahr Raik text says that he will, not through Laban al-Fahl, but through being the husband of the woman at that time when breastfeeding. Why elephant? I personally think people should stay away from Ouija boards and demonic relics and diamonds used for superstitious purposes. What are your thoughts? I mean, we believe that it has no effect at all. Effect can only come if Allah gives effect, right? So we don't believe in like these kind of things. So I mean, people should stay away from anything which is demonic anyway. Yeah, I agree. Habu Abdul Jabbar, are you Salafi? No, I'm not Salafi. White elephant, are you left-handed or right-handed? I am right-handed. Why is it showing up on the camera the opposite? So this is my right hand, I'm right-handed. This is my left hand, left-handed. Ismail Musa, why are you persisting and writing with capital letters? Okay, Muhammad Uddin, it's too big, the writing. Oh, the writing's too big. Yeah. White elephant, I like the old comment style better. You like the old one, yeah? New one looks kind of sloppy, yeah. Yeah. Okay, let me try to put some black background in. Yeah, and then we'll see. Okay, so basically what's happened is the camera has switched off, and this is technically what happens when you have too long of a live stream. So let me just bring this back on. Okay, so this is my old camera is back. Yeah, old camera is back. Old style camera. This is the old style camera back. The other camera I've had to switch it off because if you leave it on too long, these cameras are not designed for 2 or 3 hour live streams. So you have to switch them off after a while. So this is the old one then, back on. Okay, I'm gonna have to finish in a bit anyway. Okay. I've been told that some of the verdicts adopted by Hanafi school overall are actually the verdicts of Imam Abu Hanifa's students and not his own. Is this true? Yes, definitely. It's true. If yes, then can you give some examples? Lots of things. So for example, like regarding the mal musta'mal, regarding the position of whether, what else is there? I mean, there's so many. In wudu, for instance, in wudu, the position of the khilal of the beard is Abu Yusuf's opinion. Yeah, so there are many. Yeah. In fact, some of his students actually disagreed with him in like more than half the masail. Muhammad, do you recommend the Medina book course? By the way, I love the live chat. Say, Jazakallah khair. Yes, I do recommend it. Are you Salafi? No, I'm not Salafi. Actually, I like the new one more. It looks very stylish. Jazakallah khair. Okay, excellent. I think people want things in English because the Arabic can be hard. That's the thing, isn't it? So the reason they need to force themselves to be able to learn the Arabic, right? Not everything in academia can be put to you on a silver spoon. So you have to learn the Arabic. Otherwise, there are so many things people still miss out even through the translation. White elephant, do you like Chick-fil-A? Chick-fil-A. What's that? How many books do you read in a week? I don't know exactly. I might be reading at the moment probably like 2 or 3 books I'm reading. So it depends how long it takes me to complete them. I'm not Salafi. I follow the Aqidah of the Quran. Whatever's in the Quran, that's my Aqidah, basically. Why elephant? Gabriel is an archangel in my church who was Noah from the flood. Oh no, we don't believe in the Holy Ghost. Yeah, so we believe the personal revelation from God came through the angel Gabriel. That's what we believe. Muhammad Uthman, Jazakallah khair. Inshallah. Imran, inshallah. Ameen Imran. Muhammad Masinwala. Assalamu alaikum salam. Any advice for a young imam? Istiqamat, and listen to your people. Listen to your people that your congregates. Listen to them. Listen to their problems, and speak about the problems in your community. That's the most important thing you can do for them. Muhammad, I have noticed certain people have better character than others inherently. I have also heard character can improve. How does one build this so one's character by the light of the clarity and khuluq? The best way to improve your character is stay in the company of good people. That's how you improve character. Yeah, stay in the company of good people, watch their character, and you learn it. Alignment players, will you ever switch channel type? Channel type? I don't understand. Chick-fil-A is a restaurant, must be an American deal. Oh no, we don't have it here. Alright guys, so Jazakumullah khair guys. Thank you very much for watching this. May Allah bless all of you guys for taking part. I do apologize for the camera giving up. So this is what happens when the camera's on for a very long time. It does give up. So let me just try it once again to see if it's... Let's see if it comes back. Will it come back? Yeah, no. Ah, yeah. Has come back. Allahu Akbar. Yeah, it's worked again. So it just needs to be switched off for a little while. Then it comes back. So yeah, Jazakumullah khair. May Allah bless all of you guys. Okay, a reminder about my earlier question about Arabic comprehension. What was your question again? I can't remember what your question was. If you can just copy and paste it, maybe that would save me the time from having to search all day for it. Because I don't have timestamps when I check the question. I don't have timestamps. وإياك Hassan Khan, Jazakumullah khair. White elephant, you are the average of the 5 people you are around the most. That's a good. That's a good one. I like that one there. I like that statement. Barakallah Feek Sharif, great stream. Thank you. Good times. Have a wonderful weekend. Thank you very much. Yeah. So Jazakumullah khair, guys. Thank you very much for watching this. And Alhamdulillah, we had another nice live stream. And sometimes mashallah, does these timestamps recently. May Allah bless them, may Allah put barakah in their life and time. And I just read sometimes through them and I kind of figure out, whoa, sometimes like 80, average is like between 80 to 120 questions a session. 80 to 120 questions. I think a day might come when one day my body gives up and I can hardly answer any questions. But before that day comes, I'm going to try to answer as many questions as I can. Muhammad, Jazakallah khair. May Allah bless you. May Allah put barakah in your times. May Allah increase you in all good and grant you sahabat al-Rasul. Ameen. Jazakallah. Beautiful dua, mashallah. Jazakallah khair. Thank you very much, guys. May Allah bless you. If you haven't hit the like button, hit the like button. Check out my other videos I do in the week. I do like lots of other things as well. podcasts. And at the moment, I'm thinking about doing podcast in Arabic for Arabic learners. Maybe it can be a very useful resource for them. Yeah, who knows, inshallah. And like I always say, is that the reason why I have this channel is to be able to provide content which is much needed out there amongst people. Yeah, in learning Arabic more specifically. Anyone who wants to learn Arabic, I've got 17 lessons course, £50. Check out the link below. Lots of people have done it, mashallah. Many of you guys as well who attend the Q&As have done it as well. Hussein, which lectures or speeches for Arabic listening or for non-Arabs? So what I would say, it all depends exactly what you're looking for. If you're looking for something really basic, just type in قصص للأطفال. قصص للأطفال. Yeah, and you'll find these Arabic little books that have been read out, like audio books. Very, very easy ones. Otherwise, if you want something more advanced, then I would suggest going to places like Sardiyat. It's called Sardiyat. It's a YouTube channel, Sardiyat, and they've got like audio books of advanced books that you can listen to, novels and these kind of books, where your Arabic listening skills will be improved a lot. Maz, mashallah, Darul Muskul, Jazakallah khair. Thank you very much. Yeah, so is the camera, guys. So this week's camera. This is basically the camera I'm using here is my Sony A6400. So anyone who wants to know what camera I use to make my videos, Sony A6400. The camera that I use normally for my live streams is something called a Logitech C920. Yeah, Logitech C920. That's what I normally use. And that's a camera which is just like a webcam, basic webcam that is. And you can see the quality of the two, the difference in the two. I can actually show you the difference in the two. So for instance, like if I show you the Camlink one, so this is the Sony, and then the other one, which is the Cam, that's this one. So can you see the difference between the two? Yeah, that's the difference in the two. And I've also got my the Mac that I use. That's also got its own camera, and the quality of that is also quite different as well. Yeah, so if I hide the browser, if I show you that, you can see the difference there. And I can actually also show you, let me show you the Mac one side by side. Mac. Let's see what we need to do. Yeah, that's the Mac one. Mac one's a bit lighter actually. Yeah, you can see, but it's not as clear. It's not as as granular. Yeah, it's smooth on the skin, but as you can see, these are all different. So you can see 3 of me now. 3. You guys get 3 of me. Look, one live stream, man. You get 3. So yeah, so that's basically the cameras. I mean, I think the Mac ones looks a bit more like good with the light. Yeah, it reflects the light good. But yeah, it's actually quite good, you know. Do you realize how good it was? Yeah, I might use that sometimes. Yeah, so basically that's the camera for you guys there. Jazakallah khair, guys. Actually, you guys didn't see any of that, did you? Inna Allah. Oh, you couldn't see, yeah? Let me show you, guys. Let me show you. Right, so okay, so there, can you see all those cameras? So basically, if I take each one away. Take that away. Take that away. This is the camera I normally use in my live streams. Yeah, this is the camera. This is the camera I normally use in my live streams. Okay. And this week I've actually been using this one now. This one. So can you see the difference? Yeah. And the Mac itself has its own one. I'll show you that as well. It's actually quite good. The Mac one's quite good. It's quite good in picking up lights, colors. Actually, I might be able to use it, but the only problem is it's a bit. It looks a bit. It doesn't kind of reflect all the colors properly. Yeah, it doesn't reflect all the colors properly. So it does a good job. Yeah, but it's not like very granular. Yeah, not very precise and defined. So yeah. So that's basically the cameras there. Yeah, I'm thinking this one is quite good, you know. This is the Mac one. This is so right. Actually, this makes my face look smoother. It makes me look about 10 years younger. This camera is. Yeah, I might have to, when I go a bit old, I'm getting all the wrinkles. Might have to put that one up a bit more. Yeah, so you guys got 3 of me there, man. 3 of me there. Yeah, it's quite late there here, man. Yeah, the Sony one's much better, isn't it? Yeah, the Sony one's much better. So anyway, Jazakallah khair, guys. Yeah, Sony ones. Yeah, so the Sony one, basically, it's a very good unit, and it's also the lens. The lens is called a Sigma. It's called a Sigma f1.4. Right, if you want to get it, it's called a Sigma f1.4. I think 16mm lens. So this is a very good lens for filming, not for taking pictures. For taking pictures, there's other better ones out there. Far left one, yeah, the far left ones, yeah, that looks much more like film actor, yeah, kind of. I'm quite surprised at the Mac one. I didn't realize the Mac one was quite good. Alright guys, so I'm going to finish there, guys. Jazakumullah khair. Thank you guys for watching. Inshallah, I'll see you guys next time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Oh, I gotta answer this guy, man. Can't you answer him? Okay, no, I'm not by